Time now for business, and we're going to cross to the World Economic Forum in Davos. The undisputed star of the day there, Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky. France 24's Yuka Royer is there. Volodymyr Zelensky appearing this time in person.
That's right. Well, it's been a big PR effort by President Volodymyr Zelensky, and it certainly had an impact. People I've been meeting here have all been paying attention, particularly because, as you said, he's here in person for the first time since the war began. Now, his special address to a packed audience was all about the Russian counterpart of Vladimir Putin. He said that the Russian leader embodies war, and because he wants change, Ukraine's allies needed to change their attitude and quickly. Now, at a time when political wrangling in the US and Europe is making it difficult for Ukraine to secure more funding, he said that Western hesitation in supporting Ukraine was costing time and could prolong the fighting by years. But unlike last year, he didn't make direct appeals for new weaponry, but he did call for tougher sanctions against Russia, as well as efforts to close loopholes. Let's take a listen.
And how can one be satisfied with the sanctions against Russia or export controls if they don't even block its missile production? In every Russian missile, there are critical components from Western countries, dozens of components in every missile. And it's true. It's fact. And of course, I'm grateful for each package of sanctions. Thanks, partners. Thank you. But bringing peace closer will be a reward for all those who care to ensure that sanctions work 100%. And by the way, it's a clear weakness of the West that Russia's nuclear industry is still not under global sanctions, even though Putin is the only terrorist in the world who took a nuclear power plant hostage.
Well, earlier, President Zelensky met with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who assured him that the U.S. government was working with Congress to continue supporting Ukraine. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, meanwhile, said that allies were determined to make sure that Russia loses and Ukraine prevails.
Yeah, the World Economic Forum more and more looking like a G7 or a NATO summit this week. It's got that feeling of it with so many crises around the world. On the economic front, there's trade tensions, more of them, and that was illustrated by the remarks made by China's Prime Minister.
That's right. Well, Qiang is the highest-ranking Chinese official to attend the World Economic Forum since President Xi Jinping back in 2017. Now, coming just days after Taiwan chose its new leader against warnings from Beijing, well, Li didn't directly address cross-strait tensions or any other geopolitical tensions, but instead focused on trade and the economy to reassure leaders that China was open to business and that its economy grew by 5.2% more than expected last year. And now he did take aim at what he said were barriers to trade and competition, saying that they could slow down or block the flow of lifeblood of global economy, in his words. Now, he didn't name any names, but trade tensions between China and the United States and Europe have been mounting in recent years, with both sides taking unilateral restrictive measures. Both the US and the EU introduced new legislation to ramp up domestic production of microchips. And I spoke with the chief commercial officer at Intel earlier today. Intel, of course, is one of the beneficiaries of the CHIPS Act. Let's take a listen.
I think the CHIPS Act in Europe, CHIPS Act in the US are very important for us to be able to invest. Our industry is an industry that is used to subsidies since the 1970s of the last century. If you want, as a country, to get going on leading node semiconductor manufacturing, you need to invest. So I don't like the word subsidies. I think more about it as an investment, because you will create jobs. You will be able to follow from an educational point of view. The impact of the work that we're doing with universities in Magdeburg, for example, is super important. The work that we have been doing for many years in Ireland to train talent has a huge impact on Ireland, on Germany in the future from a competitive advantage point of view. So it is an investment that countries are taking when they attract semiconductor companies to their market.
That was Christophe Schell, Chief Commercial Officer at Intel, speaking to France 24 a little earlier.
Many thanks, Yuka Royer, reporting live there from the World Economic Forum in Davos.